They took me to court on a rainy Tuesday morning, the kind of day where the sky hangs low and heavy, as if it already knows something bad is about to happen. I remember standing outside the courthouse, watching people rush past me with umbrellas and coffee cups, none of them knowing that my entire life was about to be judged inside that grey stone building. My parents arrived together, perfectly dressed, my mother in pearls she only wore when she wanted to look respectable, my father in the same suit he'd worn to every important event since I was a child. Between them walked my sister, calm, confident, already smiling like the outcome was guaranteed. They didn't look at me when they passed. To them, I wasn't family anymore. I was an obstacle. The inheritance had been the excuse. But the truth was older than money. My grandfather had died 6 months earlier, quietly, in his sleep, leaving behind a will that shocked everyone except him. He left the bulk of his estate, just over $4 million, to me. Not to my parents. Not to my sister. To me. The granddaughter, they said, never lived up to her potential. The one who made bad choices. One they liked to remind. Everyone worked as a waitress. They never forgave him for that decision. And when persuasion didn't work, they chose something else. Court. Inside the courtroom, the air smelled like old wood and paper. I sat alone at the defense table while my parents, lawyer, shuffled documents with dramatic confidence. Their attorney was expensive. You could tell by the way he spoke. Slowly, as if every word cost money. When the judge entered, everyone stood. I felt my hands tremble but kept my face still. I had learned a long time ago that fear only entertained people like them. The opening statements were brutal. Their lawyer painted a picture of me as irresponsible, uneducated, emotionally unstable. He emphasized my job again and again, as if it defined my intelligence. "Your Honor," he said, gesturing toward me. "She works as a waitress. She has no experience managing large sums of money. Giving her control over millions would be reckless." My mother nodded as if this were obvious. My father leaned back, arms crossed, satisfied. My sister smirked. When it was their turn to speak, my parents didn't hesitate. My mother stood and said I had always been difficult, that I resented the family, that I lacked discipline. My father followed, saying he feared I would waste everything, that my grandfather had been manipulated in his old age. Then my sister spoke. She looked directly at the judge and said, "Finally, we can fix this mistake." Her voice didn't shake. She was used to being believed. Laughter rippled through the courtroom when the judge raised an eyebrow and said, half jokingly, "A waitress handling millions?" Even the clerk smiled. For a moment, it felt like the entire room was against me. I could feel their eyes, measuring me, dismissing me. Years ago, that look would have crushed me. But this time I didn't move. I waited. Evidence was presented. Emails, bank statements, character witnesses, all carefully selected to make me look small. My parents' lawyer ended with confidence, certain the case was already decided. The judge leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled, ready to deliver what everyone assumed would be a lecture on responsibility and family harmony. That was when he turned to me. "Do you have anything to say before I rule?" he asked. The room went quiet. My parents watched me like predators waiting for prey to panic. My sister smiled wider, already imagining the victory dinner. I stood up slowly. I didn't rush. I didn't apologize. I didn't explain my childhood or beg for understanding. I simply looked at the judge and spoke one sentence. And that sentence was not what anyone expected. The sentence I spoke wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. I didn't raise my voice or point fingers. I simply said, "Your Honor, before you rule, I would like to submit the final version of my grandfather's will along with the video affidavit he recorded 2 weeks before his death." The courtroom shifted instantly. My sister's smile froze. My mother straightened in her seat, confused. My father leaned forward, his confidence cracking for the first time that morning. The judge's expression changed, not amused now, not dismissive, curious, alert. A video affidavit? The judge asked. Yes, Your Honor, I replied calmly. Recorded voluntarily, with his attorney present, notarized and time-stamped. The room buzzed. My parents' lawyer stood up immediately, objecting, claiming procedural issues, relevance, timing. The judge raised a hand and silenced him. If it's authenticated, he said, I want to see it. The clerk wheeled in a monitor. The lights dimmed slightly, and then my grandfather appeared on the screen. He looked frailer than I remembered, thinner, but his eyes were sharp. Very sharp. He looked directly into the camera and said my name. Just my name. The sound of it made my chest tighten. I'm making this statement, he said, because I know my family will try to undo my decision after I'm gone. My mother's face drained of color. He continued, explaining slowly, clearly, how he had watched my parents favor my sister, how they dismissed me, how they laughed when I chose to work instead of asking for handouts. He talked about the nights I stayed with him, when he was sick, the paperwork I helped him organize, the conversations we had about responsibility and independence. I didn't leave her this money because she needs it, he said. I left it to her because she earned my respect. Then came the part no one expected. He explained that months earlier, he had transferred control of several assets into a trust one that activated only if his will was challenged. A safeguard. A trap, really. One that stripped claimants of any inheritance the moment they contested it. My father stood up. That's not. Sit down, the judge snapped. The video kept playing. I knew they would call her unfit, my grandfather said. So I prepared proof of her education, her certifications, her financial planning credentials. She didn't stop learning when she started waiting tables. She kept going, quietly. The screen went black. Silence filled the courtroom. The judge removed his glasses and looked directly at my parents' lawyer. Did you review this affidavit before filing the challenge? He stammered. We were not made aware of. Then you failed your clients, the judge said flatly. My sister started crying. Not quietly. Not gracefully. She kept repeating that it wasn't fair, that she deserved something, that she was the older one. My mother reached for her, whispering frantically. My father didn't speak at all. He stared at the table like it might swallow him. The judge cleared his throat. This court finds the will valid, he said. Furthermore, due to the challenge clause, the plaintiffs forfeit any remaining claims to the estate. My mother gasped. All of it? All of it, the judge confirmed. Then he turned to me. Miss, he said, his tone completely different now. The court recognizes your grandfather's intent clearly. This inheritance is yours, fully and uncontested. The gavel struck. It was over. Outside the courtroom, my parents tried to speak to me. My mother reached for my arm, tears streaking her makeup. We were just trying to protect you, she said. I stepped back. You were trying to control me, I replied, calm, final. My sister shouted that I had humiliated her, that I'd ruined the family. I looked at her once and said, No, you did that yourselves. I walked out alone. Weeks later, the messages started. Apologies, excuses, invitations, wanted dinners, holidays, make things right. I didn't respond. I used part of the inheritance to fund scholarships quietly, anonymously for kids like me. Kids who were told they weren't enough. I kept my job for a while, by choice, not necessity. Then I left on my own terms. The last time I saw my parents was by accident, in a grocery store. They looked older, smaller. They didn't approach me. And that was fine. Because winning wasn't about the money. It was about standing in a courtroom where everyone expected me to fail and leaving with everything they said I didn't deserve.